So I just made a video about the Canon M50 MK2 that's been released by Canon, or at least announced. And I have some extra thoughts about that I didn't mention in that video. The first thought is about why this actually probably came to their attention, right? So Canon, as a big camera company, they would have been aware that people desired this functionality in the camera, and they might have just seen it as too low a priority to do anything about it, because at the end of the day, they're a business, and a lot of the decisions are probably made based on how many sales are they going to make, if what percentage of sales the feature is going to increase their output by. Now, in the past, I guess a lot of people would just stream with their inbuilt computer camera, or they'll stream with their phones, right? So there wasn't that kind of high demand for streaming in high quality, especially when people just had alternatives, right? So I suppose Canon didn't think it was such a big deal for them to alter anything significant status quo. They were selling cameras like hotcakes. But the global pandemic has made it such that the demand for streaming, the demand for video conferencing, which now had to be in higher quality than the stuff that people were getting on their computers, which were not satisfactory for business quality streams. People were now looking for higher quality. My Logitech C90, God bless it, it does 1080p, but it still appears kind of grainy and not very nice. It's by no means anything compared to something like a mirrorless camera or an SLR with interchangeable high quality lenses and a large sensor. So I think the demand for this probably reached the likes of Sony and Canon, and they decided, well, this is a feature that we can just include in our cameras. It wouldn't have been the first time they would have thought about it, but probably this was the first time that the demand was such that if they included this in their camera, it might be a decision factor for people when they buy the next upgrade of a camera. The second thought that I had is one to do with power supply. So now, as we start to use these cameras now to stream, we're going to have another issue. We're going to run into power problems. Now, this Canon M50, for instance, is known for having particularly bad battery life. Most mirrorless cameras, obviously compared to SLRs, have terrible battery performance, and especially compared to phones and tablets, have just a disgraceful performance when it comes to power supply. So there are some solutions. You can buy these batteries that have a DC supply that you can provide constant supply to your camera. But I think Canon or Sony or any one of those guys can start to think about maybe giving us a camera that we can power directly via USB, much like you can do with your phone or existing webcam. Now, obviously USB technology has the ability to both power a device and transmit data from that device to a computer. That's how webcams work. That's how microphones that are USB microphones work. Those microphones are powered by that same USB cable that's transferring data from the device to your computer. So it's something that the technology is already there. All Canon or Sony or any of those guys would have to do is just move some connections around, redesign the circuit such that we could just plug in a USB cable into a camera such as the M50, and that cable would power the camera while we stream. And with the streaming restrictions removed, it could just function as a proper webcam instead of this makeshift device with the massive limitation of the power supply due to the low quality, low capacity batteries. So those are the two thoughts that came to my mind. I thought I'd make a separate video about those thoughts, and fingers crossed, with any luck, Canon is listening and their design department is getting together and putting up some designs for us. Looking forward to the future of these cameras. High quality streaming is here to stay. Torrent, I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.